Alright, so let's talk about New York. Now what I love about New York is every single time I go there, you just feel like anything can happen. I'm partying with friends and strangers, you know, like in the city that never sleeps. Now for a couple of years, I actually went to New York with the hopes of trying to find an agent. I published books online, and I'm like, you know, trying to navigate the whole publishing industry. And what better place than New York, because that's one of the places where publishing was born, basically. So I came up with this grand plan. I said, all right, I'm gonna get my books into the hands of some influencers, and maybe those people can link me to other influential people. So what happened is that I was actually able to do this. I was able to get my books in the hands of Kevin Smith, who's the director of these films, and Piper Kerman, who's the author of this book, which turned into this TV series. So Kevin Smith was doing a reading at a place called the Bryant Reading Room. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna go up there and I'm gonna try and, like, you know, get in and make sure that, like, I get him the books or whatever when he's signing books at the end. However, his co-host, it was supposed to be a podcast, didn't show up. Jason Mewes was sick and he turned it into a Q&A. And then Kevin Smith now was like, yo, throw your questions at me. So I said to myself, okay, it's a different context. And after his 10-minute response to the first question, I realized I had to get my question in quickly. I had to figure out some way to stand up in hundreds of people, get his attention, ask him a relevant question, and also give him my books. Scary much? Yes. But it worked out. And I want to show you a video of, like, just how exactly I did that. And when I went to university...
God, you must have been alone. You were on an island. They're like, we're in Jamaica,
Yeah.
man. Fuck Batman.
I know, right? So my friend in college, you know, said, do you know Kevin Smith? Because he read your Daredevil comics. And I said, no, I don't really know Kevin Smith. I got into the comic books and I got into the movies. And I was very inspired because I was like, I love the use of dialogue, and it kind of helped me to shape my journey as a writer. So I do have a question for you, but because you're one of my early inspirations, I actually wanted to give you and Jason something.
Okay.
Yeah, I have
free gifts.
Yeah. These are, it's like a book.
Okay.
Books I wrote. And because you're
Naked
like,
as the Day is
Yeah.
the title of the one. And Sex, Drugs, and Jerk Chicken.
Yeah. Well,
Very nice.
So I'm just saying thank you for
Thank you, man.
being an
That's
inspiration.
awesome. I do love... I force and foist a lot of my art on people all the time.
Okay.
So I welcome it when they give it back to me.
I like to foist.
Yeah, foist away.
I
all
love that
over my
word.
face, neck, and chest. Foist.
All right, so my question was...
Fire away. Thank you for all the context. That's awesome.
No problem. So my question was, you know, you write a lot and joke a lot about blazing. And I was just wondering, like, in the future, would you do anything involving, like, Jamaican characters? It seems like Jay and Silent Bob and a Jamaican, I think it would be insane. So just
How have I missed that thus far? You know?
I don't know. It's been like 20 years.
That is without a
Thank you.
doubt one of the, like, 10 most unique questions I ever got. When are you going to put a Jamaican in your movies? Now I'm thinking about it, dude. You know, I know Jay and Silent Bob come back next in Clerks 3, which we start shooting, contrary to what I've read in the press, they're like, it's done. We start shooting that movie in May, June of next year, 2015.
Yeah.
So it's a really good draft, but I'm telling you, there's room for it. In the Jay and Silent Bob section of the movie, I like it, but I was like, there's something missing, and I'll find it right before we go. I might have just fucking found it, man. I'll let you know how it goes, but thank you for that. You've just dropped a seed where I'm like, Jamaica man.
No, what's crazy about this is that it's a PR move I was making. It was bold, it was scary, and it worked out, but I made one huge mistake. So essentially what happened was I was so focused on getting my books into the hands of these influencers, I realized I didn't even communicate what I was trying to achieve. You see, when people are that busy and just like that well known, giving them a book in the moment may feel like, hey, I've done something, I've hit a milestone, Kevin Smith has my books. But if Kevin Smith doesn't know what you're trying to do with your books, worse, if you have a well-designed, self-published book, he may think you're already published and not even looking for an agent. So this was something that hit me like later on, where I was like, oh man, I didn't tell them what I was trying to do, I just gave them my books. You know, so the idea and strategy was sound, but an aspect of the execution actually didn't do me much benefit. Alright, so basically what I did was I chalked it up just to naivety. You know, I was just so like afraid and stressing out how to get the books into the hands of the people, I didn't realize I wasn't telling them what I was trying to do. But actually the next time I went to New York, I came up with something called the laser beam statement. Alright, so the laser beam statement is essentially like a compressed version of your motivation for whatever you're trying to do. So it's like an elevator pitch where, you know, it's like 15 to 20 seconds. Now what this allows you to do is, like, anybody you're talking to, you tell them your ultimate goal as quickly as possible to see if they can help you or not help you, and you save a lot of time. So the next time I went to New York, I basically said to everyone I met, I said, I'm in town for a couple weeks, I wrote 3 books, and I'm trying to navigate this, you know, publishing industry, and do you know anyone who could help me? I'm looking for a literary agent, or if you have a friend in the industry, please let me know. And I did this with like about 300 or 400 people, and I was able to get some conversations going, and eventually, you know, got to talk to some pretty influential people because I made that statement. Direct, focused, exactly what I'm trying to achieve, and people know what I was up to. Alright, so the mistake I made basically was just not directly communicating what I was trying to achieve. You see, one of the most important things we have to realize is that no matter how creative you are, no matter how good your work is, no matter how much sweat and blood and tears you put into creating a product, no one will know that more than you, right? No one will know what you want more than yourself. So you have to communicate that. So if you're giving somebody like a music CD, if you're giving them a piece of clothing or artwork, or in my case a book, you have to communicate to them why you're giving them the book and what you're trying to achieve from them having it. It's a value exchange, you know what I mean? Nobody has a problem exchanging value. People like accepting things, but people tend not to have an issue exchanging value. If you give me a t-shirt and you say to me, hey Marcus, you know, I always see you around town, I'd love you to have your shirt. And I'm like, alright, thank you man, I'll take the shirt and I'll wear it around town. But if the person is like, hey Marcus, I'm giving this t-shirt, I just started my clothing line, I'm looking for exposure, could you please wear the shirt, you know, at your next event and like tag me and use this hashtag? That will help me to grow. That's a very different strategy. 1, I know what the person is trying to achieve, growth. 2, they gave me instructions on what to do, which is exchange of value. And 3, now I have an incentive to return the favor because I like the clothes, right? So when it comes to like all this stuff, you know, what I learned is just that you have to communicate what you're trying to do, and don't be afraid to communicate it. I mean, if somebody can't help you, they just can't help you. If somebody doesn't want your product, they just say no, and that's it. But at least they know what you're trying to do and where you're coming from, because at the end of the day, as I said, no one knows what you're trying to do more than you. Alright, that's it for today's video. You know, have you ever done anything like this? Have you ever given product, art, music to somebody without a context behind it and felt bad about it? Let me know in the comments if you're that kind of creative. And you don't know, click the bell, subscribe. Catch you soon.